Hello, hello. This is Sheri from the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show, where we focus on living joyfully and successfully in your life and business. You can find us at sherikayehoff.com. That's SherikayeHoff.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome today. Today we are going to talk about how to get what you want done. And this topic today is also part of my free membership group in Facebook. So it's called Your Path to Success, and you can actually find it on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Your Path to Success. So, and it is a closed group, but all you have to do is just say that you want to join, and we'll let you in. And we have great conversation there, the opportunity to get questions answered, the opportunity to post what you're working on and get feedback from people. So this call is part of, in that group, I do a free training each month. So I'm opening this up to all of my podcast listeners here today. So our topic is how to get what you want done. So I've been coaching for all of these years, worked probably with thousands and thousands of people, spoken to maybe millions of people, and the common denominator is something like this. I know what I want to do, or I have a pretty clear idea of what I need to get done, but I just can't get to it. I do everything else but that, or I, when it comes to getting what's really important to me, I just keep putting it off. So we're going to talk about what it takes to get what you want done. And my hope for you is that you leave the call with just a couple or a whole list of things that you can do right away. But even that one golden idea, kind of like the golden ticket, or pearl or gem or whatever it means to you of, oh, this is the thing that's going to help me. So let's talk about getting it done. And for people who are in the Facebook group, you can actually type questions in the Q&A box. And I will answer questions as I'm checking the dashboard. So you can go ahead and type in questions. All right. So one of the things in all of my podcasts for my groups and calls, one of the common things this year is gratitude. And of course, it's a theme through all coaching and life that you create the life that you want when you're practicing appreciation and gratitude. So it's really hard to, hold on to grudges when you're in gratitude. So I decided for 2019 that I was going to start every single call saying thank you. So go ahead and just put both your hands over your heart. If you have a headset on and you're listening, just both your hands over your heart, and one hand is fine, and just allow yourself to be thankful. Thank you for, say to yourself, thank you for, and something, you're truly thankful for, and it could be something simple, it could be a habit, it could be something bigger. A lot of people will say, thank you for my home, or, thank you for my car, thank you for my family. But it could be something like, thank you for my 5 a.m. workout this morning. Thank you for my hot cup of coffee. Thank you for the smile from the cashier when I was in line. So it can be a very simple thing, but it's just that thankfulness. So just go ahead. Thank you for. And as you let that gratitude fill your heart, let it magnify by about 10 times, like the gratitude and appreciation that you're feeling right now, let it expand 10 times. And as you feel that expansion, let's expand it outward again, times 100. And so 100 times your best gratitude for the day. What an amazing attracting point for attracting all of the good things to you in your life. Okay, and if you're new on the call, we do something on most of my calls. We do tapping. So you might have heard of it as called EFT or just tapping. And what this does is it creates an actual energetic shift that you can feel. Because if you've been following law of attraction types of writings, or you've been following anything about manifesting, you know that the topic is a lot about energy vibration. And so the question I get asked all the time is, how can I be vibrating at a high level when I'm so stressed about this huge bill I just got in the mail? Or I get to the end of the month and I don't have enough money, or the debt is piling up. So how can I feel good about it? So that is the trick, because you have to be the energy vibration before the manifesting happens. So tapping helps you to be that energy vibration. It raises your energy. It also shifts how you really think. It shifts those limiting beliefs. So I call my tapping technique CNBN. So it stands for Create New Beliefs Now. So you're going to be shifting into thinking differently. We do a turnaround statement, and then we break it down. So if you've ever done affirmations, this feels like the opposite of affirmations, because we're actually saying, I'm so frustrated, or I'm so worried, or I'm so full of fear. But we're not locking those beliefs in. What we're doing is we're processing through it. And then we move on to creating a bridge. So a bridge those are beliefs that you have some of the time, and maybe things like, I know what it feels like to be successful, because you've had some success in your life. So those are beliefs that you are on board with already, or mostly on board with. And then we use that bridge to launch into brand new beliefs like, I'm a great manifester. I am running a successful multi-seven-figure business. Those kinds of beliefs that are a big stretch for you, but because we've done this process, we open your energy to be able to step into the vibration of these new beliefs. So since our topic today is getting what you want done, we're going to tap on productivity. And so some of the things that are limiting beliefs around productivity are things like, I always procrastinate. So we're going to tap on procrastination. So I'm just making sure that people can hear me. Yep. Okay. All right. So, and I'm just going to check the Q&A box. All right. Okay. So, some of the tapping points, I'm going to go through them really quickly for people who are brand new. And the core study and the core practice behind tapping is the idea that you're tapping on energy meridians of the body. So it's kind of based in acupuncture, with the idea that we can tap on these places to help shift. So the turnaround statement is the side of the hand, which is the karate chop. So you're just going to tap with the fingers of one hand on that karate chop point of the other hand, like if you're going to break bricks. So that's where we'll do the turnaround statement. And then the other places for tapping are above the eye, the side of the eye. You can go ahead and tap through these right now. Under the eye, under the nose, the chin, the collarbone, often called the sore spot, under your arm, and for women, it's kind of your bra line. It's not your armpit, it's just right below there, and the top of the head. Okay, so for people who are amazing tappers and you've been tapping for a long time, just going through and tapping the points along with us as we were describing this is starting to have you shift. Like you actually can experience shifts even without the statements. And when you're listening, if I say something that you're like, well, that really isn't my thing, you can replace the word, or you can just know that by tapping, you're shifting. The other thing is that, there's a traditional order in traditional EFT that you tap in a certain order for a certain amount of time. And I practice modified tapping because in all of my practice and experience with people, you can stay in one spot. You could stay above the eye, or you could stay on the side of the eye or under the eye, or just move around your eye, or any of the tapping points. You can even rub the inside of your wrist. And this works to shift. So don't worry about doing anything wrong. Don't worry about whether you're saying the phrases right. Just being part of the process creates the shift. So there's not a wrong way to do it. And that gives people a big, because if you're new to tapping and you're trying to concentrate on hitting all the different places and moving when you're supposed to move, it kind of interrupts what we're trying to do. So don't worry about whether you're doing it wrong or whether you're moving at the right time, because there's no doing it wrong. All right. So, okay. So let's tap. We're going to do the turnaround statements. This is the only one that we do on the karate chop point. So the turnaround statement, we say this 3 times. So even though I procrastinate, sometimes I love and accept myself. Even though procrastination can be a problem for me, I love and accept myself. Even though I put things off, I love and accept myself. And then we're going to break it down, meaning we're getting through the frustrating thoughts. So I do put things off. I get frustrated with myself. I procrastinate. I don't keep promises to myself. I have so much to do. I know I just need to start. I don't know why I do it. I know great things could happen if I just started. I want to start, but then I don't. I feel bad. I feel so bad. All these feelings are completely normal. I love, honor, and accept myself. If I think about it, I know what it feels like to get things done. I can get things done. I have productive moments. I do take action. I know what action feels like. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating inspired action. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my highest priority items. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating mental toughness. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating action. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating decision making. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating willpower. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating passion. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating instant manifestation. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my goals and dreams. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating abundance. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm releasing anything that's in the way. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating a clear path. I am a great manifester. I own my goals. I live each day with more peace, passion, energy, and joy. Right now, I'm doing and being what I want to do and be. I am capable of mental toughness. I am full of willpower. I am clear and focused. I'm an action taker. I'm a decision maker. I am productive. I get it done. Everything is always working out for me. Everything I touch prospers and succeeds. All is well. And so it is. And go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and out. All right, so that is an awesome feeling. I can feel listeners shifting, and you're locking in sort of like the tools for anti-procrastination, okay? All right, so let's talk about how to get what you want done. I do want to say there's a reason why we tap in the beginning, because it helps you kind of shift through the blocks, and so you're more open to the ideas and also more concentrated and focused on what we're talking about. So how to get what you want done? Why do we put off what is most important to us? So I want you to think about that for a second. You think about the things that have the potential to create the most difference in our lives. And those are the things that we put off. We put off making the important phone calls. We put off the workouts. We put off the most significant parts of our business, whether, it's a business building activity, or it's writing, or it's doing some marketing, but we put those types of things off. So there's many reasons why we might put it off. One of the biggest things is just a fear of change, that, what if what I do leads to massive success and then I'm just busier than I want to be? That's actually a common thing. People think that. Another reason why people put off actually taking the action that they know they want to take is there's this fear of, well, what if I take these steps and it doesn't work out? As long as I can hold the dream and not take any action, the dream is still alive. But the moment I start taking action, if it doesn't work out, will that be more crushing to me than not even trying? So when we say these things out loud, we think, okay, that's pretty ridiculous, because if you're taking no action, that dream, the only thing that's possible is there's the possibility of a dream, but it's not going to happen at all. We have to take a step. We have to, as Brene Brown says, put our toe in or fully jump into the arena of life. So just notice and be gentle on yourself. This call is not about saying everything that you're doing wrong or beating yourself up more. It's just to take a look at reality and open up the willingness to start maybe doing something differently. So sometimes just seeing some of those reasons is helpful because you realize, okay, there's a little crazy in there, and I'm not going to let that rule my life. Now, sometimes we just don't even know why, and it's not important to figure out why you're procrastinating, just because procrastination is typically, unless a reason just sort of jumps out at you, procrastination can become such a habit in life that you just habitually put things off. The person who pays their bills at the last moment, and even when they're at the point in their life where they're making enough money to pay their bills promptly, still are in the habit of paying them at the last moment because it's a habit, not because it's a conscious decision. So if you realize that so much of the procrastination that we do is just purely habit, we can change habits. We can replace that procrastination habit with something else. So when we ask how to get what you want done, you do have to know what you want to get done. So another thing that people come to me with is they'll come to me with a list of 50 things on their to-do list for just one day. Everything seems like it's the same priority, and it's completely overwhelming. So you're not going to get 50 things done in a day unless you have, such a micro list that you count like putting one sock on as part of your to-do list. But in general, you're not going to get that 50 item list done. And so what happens is you might get 10 of them done and you feel like you failed because you're not even, you're 20% through your list. So a big thing about being productive is to set priorities. And I know that you've heard this before, but it's worth bringing back to the conversation because you want to be doing the most impactful things first in your day or early on in your day if possible. So you have to understand what will create the most change and positive difference. So, if you work for somebody and they're setting priorities for you, you're kind of off the hook here because you know what you have to get done. But when you own your own business, you have to set the priorities. And so typically for a business owner, it will be what are potentially money-making activities, like things that will bring in money. So those would typically be, marketing activities, selling activities, creating content. If you're creating something that you're planning on selling, you can't sell it till it's done. So when you look at what you're doing, you've got to figure out what the most important thing is. So, for example, one of the most important things in my business is writing. So it could be writing a sales letter, writing my newsletter, writing a blog, because the more I create, the more business that comes in. Now, what also can happen is you have a flood of business, and then you're in the service and product delivery phase where your time gets crunched, and then you're not doing the piece that brings in more clients. But then what happens is you get through that client cycle and you're like, where are the new clients? Because you haven't had the time, or the commitment to doing what's most important. So the content creating piece for me is so important in my business that it's like a commitment daily and early. Okay, so when I'm done with my morning ritual and I sit down, it's the activity before the calls start with clients. And so why do I do that? It's because if I say, well, I'll write tonight, the chance that I'm going to be tired or have my day get away from me is pretty high. So do those things that create the most change immediately after your success, your morning success ritual. So if we take it away from, business environment and we look at a personal change type of thing, one of the biggest things is exercise, moving your body. And you don't, if you have a well-established evening exercise routine, I'm not saying mess that up. But if you're a person who's struggling to fit that in, consider doing that first, like almost like waking up and going for a run or a walk or doing, push-ups or sit-ups or whatever it is that you do, or taking your yoga class or doing your yoga video or getting to the gym. And I know when I started doing 5 a.m. workouts, I easily was able to put together a string of workouts together without missing, because it was my win the day moment. And so when you look at your getting things done that way, if you get your most important thing done right away, like by 8 o'clock in the morning, you've already won the day, and everything else that you accomplish is, gravy on top of that, or the cherry on top of the hot fudge sundae, however you want to look at it. So I've talked for my almost my entire business career. I've owned my business for 12 years, and I've talked about inspired action. Like, I don't do anything unless I'm inspired. So how do we reconcile that with this idea that in order to be successful, we have to do things that we don't feel like? Okay, so let's look at it this way. I might be inspired to write, inspired to coach people, inspired to help people be successful, but I might have a minute here or there where I just don't feel like doing, part of my business. So that's the part that, even though overall you're inspired, you have to take action even when you don't feel like doing it. So you're not going to be 100% inspired every moment of every day. I mean, I like to hold the vision that I am, and I try to get myself there. But, if I was looking at a 5 a.m. workout and thought, okay, I'm only going to do it if I'm inspired, I wouldn't make it to a single one of those workouts, even though I'm inspired while I'm doing it. It's the standing up and putting on my gym shoes. It's the getting out the door. Those are the things where it just would be so easy. I mean, if you're up before the sun rises, it's so easy to just put your head back down on the pillow. So that's the moment when you need to do things when you don't feel like doing it. So that's how you need to understand emotions and thought habits. So most of the thoughts that we have are habits. We habitually create these cycles of thoughts. So, for example, let's use the debt thing, or getting an unexpected bill. It starts off, oh no, why is this bill so high? Or how could my debt have gotten to this point? And then you go through a thought cycle of, how could I be so stupid? Or, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have money at retirement. I'm never going to be out of debt. And, some of you can relate, or if you can't relate to the debt thing, it's something else. And then you end up with, nobody loves me and I'm all alone, which almost every thought habit like that actually ends with, I'm so alone. Or nobody understands me, those kinds of things. That is just a thought habit loop. It actually isn't really even, like people will say, it's your limiting beliefs. It isn't even your limiting beliefs. You've conditioned yourself to have that reaction to certain things. So when you understand that, you can interrupt it. When you start having that reaction of, and you can go, oh, okay, this is the start of a thought habit loop, and so I am just stopping it, because why let it build momentum and create this big whirlwind of thoughts? And this is not squelching your emotions. So a thought habit loop is different from like a true feeling. So sometimes we have to challenge ourselves and go, do I really feel this way, or is this just a thought habit loop? Or if I do really feel this way, is this a feeling that will fade fast? Because you probably all have had the experience of feeling really angry 1 second and then having it fade away pretty quickly. So if you just were in that anger feeling thinking, I'm so angry, this is the anger that I'm having for the rest of my life, of course that's not true. So you can feel the anger and understand that it's temporary. And so it's the same with, you can feel like not doing something that's important, and you can understand that that's a temporary emotion or a temporary thought. And then you can also separate it out and go, okay, is this a thought habit loop? It might be helpful to take a moment here to recognize some of the thought habit loops that you have. I used to have that with medical bills, because when I was growing up, we had amazing health insurance, just absolutely amazing. I don't even think they even have insurance like that anymore. So, I grew up with medical bills kind of being like a non-issue, of having like $1 copay for medicine type of thing. And it's not that way anymore if you live in the U.S. Other places in the world that might, that have socialized medicine, it's most likely quite different. But, so I had thought habit loops about medical bills, like that would go something like, this is so unfair, or feeling like, really resentful. And then I had that moment of realization that, okay, I've created this habit loop here and I'm not going to do it anymore. And I made a decision that any medical bill that comes in, my son had a $300,000 knee surgery. And we did have health insurance. So like our piece ended up being somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000. But I made a conscious decision that I'm not letting one more minute of my life be absorbed into feeling bad about medical bills, or getting, whipped up into that frenzy of thinking. So you can make decisions like that for whatever type of thought habit loop that gets in your way the most in your day. So here's another way, if we switch from the emotions and thought habits, when I said, we have to get into the habit of doing things when we don't feel like it. So it's this idea of doing it anyway, but I like to make it fun. So you can do it anyway, and whether it's fun or not. But for me, I like to find ways to make things fun. So some things that I don't particularly like doing are my taxes. So, I might play music. I might create almost like a whole party about it for myself so that I can, get into that fun vibe while I'm doing it. So you might say, okay, ways that morning workout, I'm kind of stumbling over my words here. I had like 15 thoughts come into my head at one time, but I was thinking about making it fun. And part of making it fun for a lot of people for a workout is fun workout clothes. Like, I just got some new shoes, and they're kind of a real fun color, and that helps make it fun. The music helps make it fun. The conversation with my daughter and my son actually went with this morning, that's fun. Coffee later might be fun. So finding ways that you can make it fun. So if you look at in your business, okay, writing a marketing letter, how can you make it fun? Sometimes even asking the question, how do I make this fun, helps create a more fun atmosphere for you. Another tip here is working with your already well-established habits. So establishing my 5 a.m. workout habit was sandwiched in with things that were really well established for me, like journaling, taking my vitamins, doing essential oils. So I already had a morning ritual. So I could stack that in with it, either before, which in this case it's before, or after. So you can look at, okay, what do I already do that's really good for me? And then for something that you're trying to change, you can add that into your already, it's called habit stacking. And if you want to read more about habit stacking, James Clear has a great book called Atomic Habits. And I already talked about doing it early. And then I want to move into talking about acting as if and why it works. So this is sort of a version of faking it until you make it, but I don't really like the word faking. So when you're acting as if you say act as if, it's really like stepping into the belief. So something that can be helpful is acting as if it's already done. Sometimes people who are procrastinating, I'll ask them, well, what if your newsletter was already done? Or what if your book was finished? Or what if the article was completed already? What would that feel like? And, instantly it's a feeling of accomplishment and completion, and that can help drive it. It's the same if you're trying to move your business from 6 figures to 7 figures, telling yourself, well, how would a 7-figure business owner act? And, you can do that for anything. Like if you're giving a speech, how would a really confident speaker act? So it's like it works because you're stepping into new shoes and stepping into a higher belief. And then finally, establish a win the day mentality. So just even writing in your journal or writing, on a notepad, win the day, and figuring out what that means for you. So win the day might be your morning success ritual. A win the day might mean spending an hour writing, whether you feel like it or not. A win the day might be, spending an hour calling or following up with your most important contacts that you have. But when you pick what wins the day for you, once you've done that, you have won the day, and you start putting together a string of winning the day. And those that unbroken chain, those strings of win the day, over and over and over again, builds confidence. It builds, it just explodes your energy level. It brings what it is that you want to you. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to keep promises that you make to yourself. So it could be something simple. And again, I'm saying 5 a.m., but it doesn't need to be 5 a.m. It could be 8 a.m. for you. But when you set the alarm, that's a promise that you make to yourself. So keep that promise. When your alarm goes off, stand up. Move away from your bed. Don't hit the snooze alarm. And that's the start of the win the day for you. And I promise you, once you start having all of these win the day days, you're going to notice like you almost have too much time. Like, what are you going to do if you accomplish everything that you want to accomplish by 10 a.m. in the morning? You've got this whole day stretched out in front of you, and that you can be creative if you want to. You can do whatever you want because you've already won the day. So asking yourself, what does it take for me to win the day? Okay. What does win the day mean for me? That's a journal prompt. You can start it right now. You can do it later. So the key for the win the day is consistency. So this is something that you don't want it to be different every day. These are the habits. This is the main thing that when you accomplish this, you feel like your day is won already. So it sounds kind of, well, there's 2 win the day things for me. But the priority number 1 for me is the workout, because it's the thing that most people in life procrastinate about, or constantly think about, because here's the other thing about procrastinating. If you are pushing something out, you have to keep thinking about it over and over again. If you do it, you don't need to keep thinking about it. It's the same like if you think, oh, I should send this letter out, or I should make this phone call. You have to keep coming back to it because you haven't done it yet. But so if win the day for me is my workout, you might say, but Sheri, you own a business. Why don't you have a win the day thing for your business? And part of that is because, just have my business is pure joy for me, and I don't struggle with getting things done in general. I mean, at times I do, but not very often. And so that isn't my thing that I need to have. That is a win the day for me. But when I say, okay, an hour of writing, no matter what, that is a win the day piece for me, because that is something like there's no sense of urgency for any particular writing that I'm doing. So I need to create that urgency because I know that, 2 weeks could go by without any writing happening. So hopefully that helps you figure out your win the day. And it's truly different for everybody. So I want to give you some fantastic what ifs because we want to amp up this energy even more. What if you put together several daily wins? And it could just start today. It's still early today. Start today. What if you kept promises to yourself? What would that feel like? What if everything was always working out for you? That is a really cool mentality to have. Because as your day is unfolding and you're believing and feeling everything's working out for me, you don't have these wild swings of attachment. Somebody says, no, I don't want to be a client, or no, I don't like what you're saying. I don't believe it. Your emotions don't crash with just every little blip that happens throughout your day. What if you're on the right path right now? That's a fun one, too. What if a miracle is happening right now in your life? So these what ifs are different than the what if scenarios that most people go through. Like what if I don't make my car payment? What if I lose my car? All these negative what ifs. But start putting together some really spectacular what ifs for yourself. And this would be like a great place for you to add some of your own what ifs. What if you had 4 new clients today? What if every time you opened your bank account, the dollar amount increased? What if you were surrounded by love right now? What if you had all the help and support you needed? So some really fun what ifs there. Okay. So, gosh, I can't even remember how many years ago this was, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I get some of my best ideas right away when I wake up in the morning. And it usually happens when I go to sleep and I kind of say to God, the universe, what's next? Or show me the next step. And so one morning I woke up and I had this acronym called BOLD. And BOLD stands for be a great manifester, own your goals, live each day with more peace, passion, energy, and joy, do and be what you are meant to do and be. So this acronym actually became a class that I taught online, and then it also became one of the best keynotes I've ever given in my life, a leadership keynote. So what do these 4 things mean? So bold, living life with the bold principles. And I don't mean bold in, an aggressive manner, but it's living with boldness, being a great manifester. It's like being able to say, I want this, and then making it happen. So that is paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to your energy vibration, paying attention to action steps that come from your thoughts and your energy vibration, becoming a great manifester. When you say something is going to happen, you make it happen. Okay. The next one, owning your goals. So this means that you are 100% responsible for your goals and you're owning them. Your goals aren't your parents' goals, your kids' goals, your husband's goals. That when you set a goal, it's not what you think you should do, it's what you choose to do. And then the live each day with more peace, passion, energy, and joy is really the zest of life. You know, living in that zone of peace, passion, energy, and joy. So, even, you know, that can happen when you ask yourself, what's the path to more peace? How can I ignite my passion? Am I living my passion? What am I doing to enhance my energy? Am I, getting massages? Am I doing my workouts? Am I stretching? Am I nourishing my body? And what am I doing to unleash my joy? Or even understanding, like, to me, peace, passion, energy, and joy is more about decision than anything else. If you decide to have a life with more peace, passion, energy, and joy, you will have that life. It's not dependent on really outward circumstances. You know, it's an inner path. And you can have this no matter what your outward circumstances in life are. And then doing and being what you're meant to do and be. This is the feeling of being on purpose, of fulfilling your purpose in life. And again, people get really hung up on purpose, like thinking like, I haven't discovered my purpose, or what if I choose a purpose and that really isn't my purpose? You can have more than one purpose, and you can feel like you nailed a purpose in your life and then realize it's not exactly the final draft. So, for example, when I taught at a college, when I was getting my higher education after my bachelor's degree, I would say to people, I'm going to teach at a college, and I truly thought that I wouldn't retire doing that. And then when I actually did that, I loved it, but I knew it wasn't it wasn't the ultimate fulfillment of my purpose, but I didn't know it until I was doing it. Okay. So when I was doing it, I thought, okay, I need some refinement here because this doesn't feel like exactly how I want to be living out my life. And so I did a lot of journaling and soul searching, and that's when I started my company 12 years ago. So, because I wanted to coach people. When you coach people, they're only coached because they want to be coached, okay? And they're people who are really wanting to step into a higher level of life. And I love that. And I've never regretted my decision once. I've had times where I've had emotional ups and downs, adjusting to owning my own company in the beginning, especially when I was a startup. But there's never been a doubt of, do I love doing this? And do I feel like in the zone when I'm doing it? And I do. So don't worry about picking the wrong purpose, because if you do, just look at it, it's not going to be the wrong purpose. Just look at it as, how can I refine this? So when I look at my life, I've lived my purpose in some version or another since I was little. Like, I would have all my friends sit at makeshift desks and teach them. I wanted to be the teacher. And so teaching, mentoring, training, empowering have been in my heart since I was just a little girl. And I didn't really know what that would look like. And when I graduated from high school and college, coaching was, college, maybe coaching was like a little fledgling idea. But, when I was in high school, you wouldn't say, I'm going to be a coach. People would think, or are you going to coach football? Are you going to coach softball, basketball, swimming? What are you going to coach? So it could be that what you're meant to ultimately do, and you're meant to do it because you choose it, okay, hasn't even quite been invented yet, or maybe you're the one to invent it. So the key here is to follow the little whispers, the whispers from your heart, and follow this sounds cool and interesting, or maybe I can explore this. Those are ways to uncover that on a deeper level. All right, so we covered some ideas on how to get more done, how to, shift out of procrastinating, how to do things even when you don't feel like it. And ultimately, it all comes down to choice. Your life is the way it is because of your choices. So you can choose differently in any 24 hours. You can choose differently in any minute and totally change the path. And that's what I love about life. That's the empowering thing about life, is that we're not locked in. The choice I make now, the choice I make in the next minute, the choice I make in the next hour can dramatically change and shift my life and your life, right? Okay, so have an amazing day, and I will talk to everybody soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
This episode is sponsored by the Living Your Vision course for creating your optimal life. This course is for creating and fulfilling your dream. Make your dreams your reality instead of a someday idea. Set your vision for your life in motion. Move from trying to be just a little bit better and shift to deliberately creating the life you want at the level you want. Most people are not purposely thinking small. They just have never considered or allowed themselves to think bigger or even on an epic level. Even big thinkers, perhaps you're one of them, often say, I just don't have time to devote to developing a detailed vision of how I want my life to be. What's stopping you from creating your vision the way you really want it? What if you let go of anything that is stopping or blocking you? What if you stepped into your creative zone and designed a compelling vision that drove all of your daily habits and decisions? You can check out the Living Your Vision course at SheriKayeHoff.com. That's SheriKayeHoff.com. And you'll want to go to the coaching and courses tab.